So who does want to start this week? Does anyone have anything that was... I think, frankly, in my opinion, one of the biggest things of the week was actually the Rivian reveal, finally. But unless someone else has something...
You mean the Lucid reveal?
Or, I mean, yeah, the Lucid reveal. Thank you.
I was about to say, did I miss something?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, on top of the...
me.
1 hour after the Lucid stream, didn't you guys pay attention? There's a Rivian thing. You know.
It was like a secret.
Yeah, Lucid, sorry.
Easter egg. All right, well, hit us with an article here, and I'll kind of talk you through.
All right. Well, do you want the article or do you want the... We've got your numbers.
Let's go to the tweets. So, Lucid Motors, their first car, the Lucid Air, they finally unveiled the production version. Now, if you recall, their kind of concept car was revealed in 2017, so a while ago. Now they have a factory in Arizona that they're reportedly finishing up their lines on and getting ready to roll. So they have the kind of final versions they just announced yesterday at their unveiling. And we've got some different trim levels here. So it's not a cheap car, I'll say that. But before I get into the details, I'll just say that their market here, the whole like thing they're aiming for is like the really luxury side of it. So everything in the car is like a real step up from some of the other cars out there in the similar space. So the base model, the Lucid Air, they are saying will start under $80,000. I assume it's close to 80,000. Otherwise, they would have said maybe under 70,000 or under 60,000. Right. You know, but technically under 80,000 could be anything.
79,99999.
Yeah, could be $5. You never know. Now that one's not coming till 2022, so let's just put that out of our brains for now. Let's not worry about that. And there were no other specs revealed on that. Then there's the next level up would be the touring model, and this is $95,000. This one has a range of 406 miles, a 3.2 second 0 to 60, and this is coming about a year from now in Q4 of 2020. Oh, look at that. And then we have some actual images of it. Fancy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go check back in on that as we talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got all
Then we
this
have the
written down
Grand Touring. This is $139,000 starting price. This is the one that has the 517 miles of range, 3 seconds 0 to 60, and this one is coming in Q2 of 2021 is what they listed, but in the press release and in person they said spring of 2021. So we'll see. I don't know exactly where they define
Q2 considered spring? It can be spring. Q2 spring.
April counts, right?
Yeah, spring's from what, like March something till like June or July. I don't know seasons.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's spring. Q2's absolutely spring.
See, so here in California, we don't have spring. We just have summer 1 and summer 2.
That's true.
Or summer and then not summer. Those are the only two seasons. So these things are all lost on me. And then you have,
but the temperature difference is like 10 degrees between the two.
Correct. So. Well, it's more so the nights are more like just today I got up and it was like actually a little bit of chill and some dew, and I was like, oh wow, this feels like what it's supposed to feel like. It's been so hot and crazy here lately, but yeah. So, and then at the highest level, you have the Dream Edition. I believe the name is from the Mamas and the Papas, California Dreamin'. Mm-hmm. And this is because everything here is California inspired. The whole company is based in California with the exception of the factory in Arizona. So this one is $169,000, kind of nutty. This one has a range between 465 and 503 miles. That's based on the different tires you can put on there. And this one has a 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, which isn't as impressive as a 9.9 second quarter mile time, which is just absolutely nutty. And this one, again, coming in spring of 2021, Q2 officially. And they teased an SUV, apparently. And so, yes, we'll put a link in the show description if you want to see. I have a tweet with those bits summarized and then their official press release kind of configuration here. Yeah, and here's some shots. Let's look at the cars, though. Because I haven't seen this yet. They have a configurator on their website.
Yep.
And they all look just different colors, basically. I don't see.
Right. And they just kind of show like they have the options, going from Dream to Grand Touring to Touring and the Air. But, yeah. That is...
One casts more shadows than the other.
Yeah, basically.
One has a solid roof. That's it. It's funny how they would.
I think
they would get rid of that for a car that's still $80,000.
Oh yeah, that is weird. I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Does that cut down on the price in some way, or is it just like you're paying less, so you will be punished?
Yeah, it's a good.
I'm
question.
sure that glass roof is pretty expensive. That's a big chunk of glass. Yeah, I gotta say, What are you guys' thoughts on this? Joe, I'm curious on your thoughts, because I've already heard Ben's thoughts in his video, but
just thoughts on the pricing, or
on the car
in general,
now that it's all out. What do you think?
I mean, I'm jealous that Ben got a chance to kind of hang out in it and take a look at it. No, I'm down with it. I mean, it sounds like they're kind of doing the same sort of strategy that Tesla did. Start off with the more expensive one, work their way down. Make that cheddar. Yeah. Right off the bat. I'm psyched for it. I think it's cool.
Yeah. I think for me, like, I'm a little torn, because a part of me really, really likes this car. Thinks it's awesome, and like I would actually consider. There's two things that I don't love. I don't love the look of the back, like we talked about last or 2 weeks ago or whatever. But also the trunk. I thought that whole thing was a hatchback.
Yeah.
I thought it was a huge fat old hatchback.
With that as well.
And then it opens up, and it looks like a smaller opening than the Model 3 even. Like you can only put stuff straight in the back. Like you can't, it doesn't, like, you don't put anything down into the trunk or anything really. It's this weird opening.
Yeah. I have some,
I don't know.
I think there's some photos on their website maybe if you click around, but I totally agree. And the thing that I didn't get to see that I would really love is the executive seat option.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like you fully recline in the back and all that. It's funny.
Yeah.
My buddy Trevor online was like, "What's going on with their self-driving stuff? That's the most important thing, yada yada yada." And I'm like, "Well, if you get the executive seat option, you have a driver. you have actually probably the most advanced self-driving system in the world." Yeah. No, I agree. I think the back is a little funky. The trunk was a big disappointment. Especially because it's a really practical vehicle. You know what I mean? It's not I mean, it's super luxury and all that. All the finishings are very, very high end and expensive and all that, which is cool because Tesla doesn't really serve that market. So I think you'll get a lot of people that like the Bentleys and the Maseratis and those kind of folks being like, oh, finally an electric car that I like. Because the price is kind of nutty. I mean, I guess a Mercedes S-Class fully loaded is probably similar to this.
But it's also competing with, that's still cheaper. Even the maxed out one is cheaper than the Porsche Taycan.
Yeah, by like $70,000.
And way faster, way better range, over twice the range, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you compare it to the Taycan, it looks... Yeah, but when you compare it to the Taycan as far as like the build quality, I mean, we don't know that yet, but like the materials look phenomenal. That's one of the things that I noticed. All the little details when I was watching the reveals, like, man, they just really, it just looks nice. I love how they even talked about how the front seats and the front color scheme is different than the back color scheme. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it looks really cool.
The seat backs match the back seats.
Yeah.
And then in the front, it's totally, and there are different trim levels, and like at each store. So I got to go to their store in Beverly Hills, which isn't open yet, and they kind of walked me through the experience. You could see the battery, you could see there's like a virtual reality thing. They weren't letting us do it because of COVID, but it just speaks high-end luxury market. That's exactly what all of it is. Which I mean, I'm super stoked for them. Again, Peter Rawlinson is a great guy that knows what he's doing, and so really hopeful that they'll succeed.
So there was something in your video, was it yesterday that you just put that out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you put it out last night, like right after the reveal, pretty much.
Yeah, so, you said something about the cooling system in the motor.
Yeah. That
they like wove the cooling in between the threads of the electromagnetic coil or something?
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know if, Tim, you could find it on their website somewhere, but basically, so where the gears are, right outside of that is where a lot of the heat is generated, and there were these little holes that were a part of the metal. I forget what kind of metal it was, but something about the metal was kind of porous, and instead of just leaving those pores there, they actually put little tiny tubes, copper tubes, and ran coolant through it. So they're trying to cool the motor at like literally just millimeters outside of where the heat gets generated.
Wow.
So instead of trying to generate or cool it from outside or somewhere else, they're trying to do it right as close as they possibly can. And when I was there, Peter Rawlinson really emphasized that point. There's some diagrams of like the motor all strewn apart, and you can kind of see these little tiny tubes. It looks like hair almost, right at the center part of the motor, which was just really cool.
Thanks to Bamboo Hip Hop and Discord for finding the link to this. Here's a picture of that.
There it is right there. So so you can see the copper part essentially. So see you have the gear.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, it probably lists it. What does it say? High voltage. I can't read that.
Continuous
Y'all
wave
got any more
winding.
than pixels?
Sorry, it's like the lowest resolution thing, but
Right, yeah. So basically that's the jam right there is they're trying to cool it inside. And so all that said, the whole reason to do that is just efficiency, right? Because heat is your enemy here. And if you could keep this thing at like a really good low temperature, you could spin it up like infinitely fast, right? But of course, heat and physics and things. So they have some really cool kind of breakthroughs on that side that I thought were.
So is that why they're getting such high range out of them, do you think? Or?
Yeah, I think it's that plus the
partly.
The inverter and everything being a 900 volt architecture also is just more efficient. So apparently, and I just talked with Jehu Garcia about this on his podcast the other day, amps are the things that really make things hot. And so if you could have something with really high voltage, you need fewer amps to push energy through it. And so you can have thinner wires with less coolant, which again takes up less space, which is more efficient and all those things. So something about the 900 volt architecture and the inverter being mounted directly on top. And then the Wunderbox, the Wonder Box is the thing that makes this all possible, because the Porsche Taycan is kind of limited in this way. So if you guys didn't see that, the Porsche Taycan, yes, it has 800 volt architecture and it can charge at 270 kilowatts. They advertise 350, but then on their website it says 270, I believe. And when I went and did it, I got just over 250, so it's still like not there yet. But the deal is, if you were to go to a different DC fast charger that isn't operating at an 800 volt architecture, then it has to step up the voltage in order to work. And when it does that, the max charge rate that you could get is 50 kilowatts, which is terrible.
On the Taycan?
Yes. So with
Where
the Taycan,
are there even 800 volt chargers? Like, which ones are?
Electrify America has the 350 kilowatt chargers. Those are the only ones in the world that I'm aware. Well, okay, sorry. In Europe, I think Ionity maybe has them, and there's maybe a few other. In Europe, charging is a totally different ballgame with lots of really plentiful ones. Here, you basically have Tesla superchargers and Electrify America, right? So, but like, let's say you went to an EV Go or a Charge Point or something that had a DC fast charger. I believe the max you could get is 50 kilowatts on the Taycan. Wow. Even though the thing may go up to 150. And it's because it has to step up the voltage, which just ruins the whole thing. Apparently, the Wunderbox in the Lucid doesn't suffer that same fate. And so they're saying, yes, when you go to an 800 volt architecture, it'll bump it up, and it won't give you 350, it'll give you 300. But if you were to go to a regular DC fast charger that's maybe, say, 75 or something, it would give you 75. Wow. All that I need to see in person. I don't fully understand how those bits work, like how you step up the voltage and don't lose current. But there's that's why I just make the pretties. I don't really do the engineers. Really cool stuff though. Really cool stuff. And it's funny. That was my biggest thing. Like, I think the engineering of the car is incredible. That's like the most exciting part. And that's where everyone else falls flat. Like Audi and Mercedes and everyone just really sucks at all those parts. But the car, I was not impressed with. I was like, okay, I don't like the screens. The materials are nice, but I mean, I'm not really into the super luxury stuff. So cool, I guess. And then the trunk is really awkward, like I don't know. I still just it wasn't for me, but I was blown away with the engineering part of it.
Yeah. So the screens you say you don't like. From what I gathered, there was like a dashboard kind of thing, and then a smaller screen kind of in the middle console.
Kind of like
Do you just want them to be bigger, or was there something about the UI you didn't like, or?
It's all perspective, right? And so
I know you're used to the giant Model S, Model X.
We all
billboard
confirmation bias, right? It always, or first love bias. I don't know what you want to call it, but like the Model S was my first love, and it always will be. So interiors that don't have at least like similar things, I'm just like, eh. That's why I like the Ford Mach-E. I'm like, wow, this is great. Like they really nailed it. I love the Ford Mach-E interior because it's so similar to the Model S, but also kind of has what the Model 3 has, which is like this sunken down dashboard that's not big and in your way. Yeah. This one, it was very Porsche Taycan like, where it had this kind of long strip behind the steering wheel, and then it had this like center console, which is like right where your hand is if you're just laying your hand in the middle there, but none of all of that to me seemed just very car-like, not very. You weren't really pushing things forward there. You just basically digitized the typical things you would have. So I was kind of about it. Like same with the Taycan. Like it was a hell of a car to drive. The rest of it was kind of like it doesn't charge super fast, doesn't get great range, but damn, driving that thing, you are just sweating. It's so fun. So it's like, they each have their thing that they're tremendous at. So I wasn't super impressed with that. I mean, it looks cool, but compared to what I'm coming from, I'm like unimpressed. I can't watch YouTube on it, whatever. Doesn't have fart mode.
It's funny because like I never had a Model S, but I've got that Model 3 horizontal, dashboard on mine, and I prefer that now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be the first to say when they first launched the Model 3 and there was that I was just kind of like, why is it just like glued onto the dashboard?
The iPad just stuck on there?
Yeah. And now it's like I look at the Model S and it's just like jam.
That's exactly how it is, right? Your first love will always be your first love, right?
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I think there's so just to finish that part of this, because there's still a lot more to talk about in my opinion on this car, but I think I'm waiting for an S update myself to even consider I think that the car is 8 years old basically on the inside, and it's really starting to show. And the simplicity of the 3 is something that draws me, and the Lucid Air's interior is like you said, a lot closer to like the Panamera, like way more traditional interior look and feel. And it didn't necessarily wow me, but I did like the executive seats in the back that will be an option in the future, like we said. That absolutely wows me. Like that is super, super cool. That is
They're kind of
really
like
impressive.
Pushing that off though. I think they should have came out with that. I think you would have got the Jay-Z and Beyonce's of the world buying that thing immediately, or even not even like buying that, but like just people like car services. Imagine you're in Beverly Hills and you have a really high-end car service, and now you have this insane futuristic luxury thing that has these seats. People would have eaten that up. So I wanted to show this interior here. So we're looking here at. This is pretty old at this point. When is this article from?
It said August 6th.
2018.
18.
Yeah. So the Model S is definitely a bit long in the tooth. And can you bring that up full screen? That interior? Yeah, so I thought this was a pretty cool redesign of the Model S interior. I think it still is kind of similar, right? You have the big screen in the middle, but it's more angled, I guess, and then some of the lines are just a lot cleaner. And then you have screens on the steering wheel. I think that's kind of neat.
That.
And
it
then
looks
you have
cool, but I don't want that.
You don't want that?
No, I love those little knobbies are my favorite thing.
I feel like I'd be accidentally hitting stuff on that all the time.
Yeah.
And like
that's
changing the
true.
music and and sending it off a cliff and stuff like that.
It's our first love bias. We all have it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is dope. I want this.
I do.
Well, I kind of like that middle screen is popped out a little bit.
Yes.
I think that kind of would continue the Model 3 aesthetic.
Well, we've talked about this on the show a few times. That serves a functionality. It makes it easier to utilize a touchscreen when you can wrap your hand around it and use your thumb.
Yeah.
You have that anchor point.
Oh, right.
Something to grab onto like a tablet or a phone. We're used to that. We're not used to having to utilize an iPad, like at arm's length without like grabbing onto it. That's
with potholes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and there was this company that maybe they're still out there. They sent me this thing and I thought it was really cool. It was like a tack strip almost. Imagine like something you would just stick onto the bottom backside of your Model 3 screen. And it basically had touch points. So you would know, you could just run your hand along it and see where the things are. Right. And then the problem is like Tesla changes the UI every month. And so it just switches everything around. You're like, God damn it. Like, what am I going to So none of it works. But I thought that was kind of a novel idea.
That's my one frustration with the over-the-air updates is that the next time you get in your car, you're driving and they've moved something around and you're trying to find it while you're driving. It's just like,
Yeah, for sure. But I think in general, I'm like I said, like Ben said, I think I'm just absolutely blown away by the engineering of the car. It seems like finally someone is properly putting Tesla in their place. Like the Taycan, in some spots it was performing as well as, or in on the racetrack, arguably probably performing better, more consistently or whatever. But I don't know. I just am not a huge fan of the Taycan not being so much more expensive and not just totally
crazy.
Dominating in certain ways. And the Lucid Air, yes, it's if you fully load out a Lucid Air. Well, hang on, let's look back at the one. Where's the?
Yeah, does it go above the 169? I don't know. I haven't tried.
Well, that's the funny thing. If you look at here, let me show you this again. So right now, what's the most expensive you can spend on a Tesla? Because I think they've come down quite a bit.
It's like 120 or something like that.
Yeah, like 120 or 130. So this, the Air Grand Touring, it's still 0 to 60. What do they say? Maybe they don't say 0 to 60, but it's still 800 horsepower.
3 seconds. That one.
Okay, so 3 seconds. I mean, that's still faster. That's still faster. That's fast, right? That's plenty fast.
It'll blow you away, yeah.
It's not
2.3 seconds, but it'll, yeah.
But that 517-mile range, that properly dominates anything else, right? Like it is. That is the winner right now. That is the one to beat. And for 139, it's not quite as fast as the Model S at that same price, or if you loaded up a Model S right now.
Well, but if you get the performance Model S, you're down to 348 miles of range. So you're talking a massive difference in range.
That's true. Yeah, and even but then the more expensive one, the 1,000 horsepower one, that does that 9-second quarter mile.
406 or 503.
503 miles of range or 465, depending on which wheel.
Yeah. Now, if you go to design, does it start adding up the price? I haven't looked yet.
That's true.
I filmed all the video before any of this was out. So
these are included.
I mean, dude, $169,000. Give me like, you better not charge me $2,000 for a different
cold weather
color.
Optional. All weather floor mats optional. Okay, at least
does it have cooled seats?
It better.
Oh, I missed that.
My Tesla does.
Oh yeah, it does.
I've never had a car with that, and I live in a place that needs it more than anywhere.
Yeah,
it's true.
Those are some of the things, I know the fanboys get all butthurt saying like, oh, Tesla is the best luxury car ever. No Mercedes has ever been nicer to ride in than a Tesla. But there's little things like that. Like cooled seats are awesome,
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little things I think I would be surprised if they don't have what
did you just open the door?
What just happened? We're watching Tim do a little virtual reality thing here. And that screen goes away too.
Yeah, the screen going away is really cool. That's actually slick.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's really slick.
See what you're left with? It's like a really basic, like they were hot on the screen and I'm kind of like, okay, I guess. Like it was not impressive to me. Like one of the things I love in Tesla is the navigation. How you hop in any Tesla and you just know you have this giant map showing you where you're at.
Yeah.
And I'm missing that here,
But it could be more dynamic in the future,
Yeah, I mean, they could still show it, but it's just such a small surface area. And if they did put it on the screen down by your hand, then you're really taking your eyes off the road to look at it.
Yeah, they could put it there in the middle, that middle binnacle area thing.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I just gotta say I'm very impressed. I don't know if this is something that will fly off the shelves per se, but I mean it's cool, and I think they could perform well as long as they don't make any really ugly SUVs or anything,
which they announced. Or did they actually announce it?
They teased it at the end of their thing.
Teased it.
Yeah, so there's some teaser shots they have of an SUV here. I don't know why. I actually would recommend not doing
Looking
this.
at it.
I would just say, Lucid, don't do this, okay? Rivian is the king here, so just give it up.
Hold on, I gotta find their YouTube video because they had shots of it. There's a shot of it that I literally, if I had something in my mouth, I would have 100% spit it out. And then for the next 5 seconds, I was just jaw on the floor like, that is dumb looking. And I hate to say that.
The SUV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So just like when you think about an ultra luxury thing, like have you guys seen the Lamborghini SUV? It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. You're like, what the hell are you guys doing?
It's true.
Well, it almost feels like the new EV companies kind of have to be all things to all people, or they feel like they need to be all things to all people. Like they can't just have like that specific niche of high end, like I guess Lucid is kind of going for. But no, we need an SUV too.
Yeah, that seems
because a lot of people drive SUVs.
What is this?
That's a shot of the SUV.
The canoe. It looks like the canoe thing.
I don't.
Oh,
what's
I know
the
what you're
back
talking about,
doing?
yeah.
What's the whole? What is it?
Is it a third row?
Oh, it might be, but
Well, and when you open the back, it only like is like a foot and a half tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a third row.
Hang on, there's another shot of it that I literally like laughed at. I don't know. I just that.
Well,
I don't.
okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
But can you bring up the R1S? Just for
Rivian?
comparison, the Rivian R1S.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Because I'm sorry, just no one like Rivian has absolutely, I think, nailed the design for this segment.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that SUV at the 2019 LA Auto Show or 2018 LA Auto Show, the Rivian R1S, I was blown away. I was like, whoa, that it's like a Range Rover. Like, this is a Range Rover clone. And I think people love the look of Range Rovers until they have to take them into the shop. So like, I think that'll sell extremely well. This doesn't make any sense to me. I would not do this. So, Lucid, by the way, has been their tech division, which I don't know what that means. Tech division is called, it's not Altium. Anyways, they've been making the batteries for Formula E since 2018. So their battery tech has been driven by, the most insane kind of cars and everything for a few years already. So so if you look at the R1T, like that shot right there on the snow, I mean, tell me that's not that looks like it belongs there,
Yeah, that's properly cool.
That's
that right blend
SUV.
between like. It's to me the right blend of futuristic, off-roady, and like luxurious. It's just kind of doing it all for me. And I love that green, that forest green on this car. The Rivian green is like, I'm in. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah,
it does definitely have Land Rover DNA in it.
Yeah.
It feels and I'm very cool with that.
No, I mean, Rivian, when it comes to their design, the only thing I don't like is the pig nose, but everything else I absolutely love about it.
The pig nose, yeah.
It's a pig nose. I mean,
they're discussing it in the Discord right now. The headlights. I'm kind of like, is it weird? Yeah, but I think you get used to it, and I think that it is sort of their brand, and that's how you know what it is when you first see it.
They said it was supposed to be a carabiner look, and I'm like, I don't really see. Usually those have like an angle to them.
Like the clamp.
Yeah, like when you're like climbing.
Yeah, they always have
Chevy
an angle.
pickups have those.
I feel like they're rarely just a straight oval.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I guess maybe not the climbing ones.
At the unveiling, I talked to the chief designer about that. I'm like, okay, so tell me about the nose on this. I'm like, hey, overall beautiful, great job, but what about that? Why does that? And he's like, oh, it's so cool. It shows you your charging indicator as you go. And I'm like, a Nissan Leaf has had that forever. That's not impressive to me.
Also, aren't you usually sitting in your car when you're charging?
Well, if it's in your garage, something like that.
But if you're in, why do you have, that's
Joe?
Yeah, it's
it's
kind
so
of
that
dumb.
when you're in,
Neat, but-
it's when you're at a restaurant and you happen to be at a window seat that has the view of your car charging across a parking lot, and you're sitting there and you can just go, green, got it.
Yeah. That's where the fanboy stuff it goes, right? Like they go into that much detail. Oh yeah, well, except for that one time when you're in this situation, that thing's gonna suck. Like what? Who cares?
That's so I gotta get you guys' opinions then of the cars coming out in 2021 that are supposed to be production ready where you can purchase them. What are you most excited about, or what actually draws your attention most to put an order in? I think we know Ben's answer because he's literally done this already.
He ordered it.
Joe, what about you?
I don't know. What are the options for 2021? What are we
Lucid
talking
Air.
about? There's Lucid Air.
The Rivian, just the R1T, or are they doing the SUV next year? I think the SUV is not next year yet, right?
I do not know.
Doing just the truck first, I think.
It's supposed to be June of next year is for the truck. Yeah.
Okay, but not the SUV yet.
I don't know.
Like 2022. I think.
It'll probably be next year as well, but maybe not. Maybe not June.
Okay, so we have those two. That's really about it. Besides maybe Cybertruck, I guess.
No, Cybertruck's not until. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But, well, they have to build the whole factory in Austin first.
Yeah, but they did that in China in 8 months. We got 4 more months of this year.
Texas and China are very similar.
Let's say they can build it in a year. I could see
got
Cybertrucks coming off the line before the end of next year.
All right. Well, some other ones. The Ford Mach-E is supposed to come out next year. Actually, I think it's supposed to come out this year. The Polestar 2,
next year, though.
The Mercedes EQS, the GMC Hummer electric supposed to come out next year. Unless they pushed it back. Then there's Lexus has one, Mazda has one, Honda has one. Those are all Europe only. And then the Audi e-tron Quattro Sport is, I think it's supposed to be this year, but.
And Polestar 2 is that? But that's not coming to the U.S., is it?
It is.
Okay, that'll probably
not until next year though.
Yep.
I'm holding out for the I-Pace.
That's already. Yeah, they're coming back.
Oh, it is. No, I saw one in the wild like a month or so ago, and I almost browned my pants. So I was
what is that?
surprised.
I think it's a good looking car.
And then the Nissan Aria, I guess.
But it's just you don't see them anywhere.
Yeah, you definitely don't see them. Okay, so of the main ones, of the ones that we know for sure that are coming out, I guess, not just these like maybe, like I feel like a lot of those are like, sure, deliveries in 2021, but I think for sure we can say Rivian, I think they'll hit it, and I think Lucid Air will hit it. Yeah, and then some of those other ones. Joe, what do you?
Okay, so money aside, let's just say money wasn't an issue. I'm looking for something with cooled seats for once in my friggin' life if I'm going to be living here in Texas. And I don't know which ones have it. I know I'm the only person in the world that's remotely interested in the Polestar 2, but I am. I think it's neat looking, and I think if I were to step up from what I've got right now, I would probably go more in a luxury route, just because I've never really had like a fancy car before. Like the Model 3 is the fanciest car I've ever had, really, and it's like bare bones in terms of like
fancy,
you know what I mean?
Stuff. Yeah, it's not really.
Yeah. So performance-wise, whatever, I don't care. But so that's why I kind of lean toward the Polestar 2 or the Lucid. Again, money not being a factor, that would probably
the
be
Polestar 2 shouldn't be
go.
that expensive.
I know it didn't have the best range.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the Polestar 2 is the charging network, I understand, is pretty limited. It only charges at their chargers or something like that.
Oh no.
And I know, it's really, so if you watch the fully charged review of it, I think that was the only knock against them, was like, especially in Europe, there are all these like big charging networks and tons of options, but you can't use any of them. You're like, why?
Weird.
What?
That's not smart.
I love the design of it though. I love
Yeah.
Polestars. Like they're just top notch in terms of that aesthetic. I love it.
And the Mach-E.
Yeah, Mach-E would be cool.
I could go with the Mach-E.
I think I'm actually I'm between Cybertruck and the Rivian truck, actually. I never thought I'd be a guy that's interested in trucks, but this year has pushed my wanting to do like overlanding and like proper off-road camping stuff. Like took it from like a, maybe someday to like, I actually really want to do that. Like I properly really want to do that. And the R1T has that awesome like option that I don't know if it's actually gonna come out right away, but they have the tent that can like pop off the bed with a little ladder going into it. Also has like that little thing where you can pull a kitchen out. Yeah, like it has a lot of really cool options for overlanding, and like that to me is just plain properly cool. Like period. And end of sentence. And I think it's a reasonable price for the type of pickup it is and the range and all the speed. I mean, it's competitive. It's awesome. But
don't
then again, if
turn.
the tank turn's really cool.
I don't know why you do that, but I would just love to do it. I just I don't know why, but yes, let's do it.
But at the same time, like Cybertruck, just because I really do think as far as self-driving goes and stuff like that, I think Tesla will beat any of these other startups to self-driving options. And I think if I went to like a Rivian or anything else right now, I think I'd be missing already the options that just Navigate on Autopilot has, and some of the features that I'm already getting quite spoiled by, like stopping at stoplights and stuff.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what features are those?
And just even like the way you can now, in city, like lane change and stuff like that. I mean, it's coming along pretty quickly, and I'm just realizing how quickly I'm adapting to that.
I need to see a video of these roads that you live on.
When actually, it's horrible here.
They just have very good municipal services in Iowa.
No,
apparently.
actually, oddly, Iowa, or specifically, I don't know if it's my county or what, but you know how like there's normally a big line of where you're supposed to stop at stoplights?
Uh-huh.
That is virtually non-existent here. And I'm not being facetious about that. Like, that's not a normal thing. Like, it's really uncommon to see a nice, bold line. So it's actually really fun watching the Tesla it's trying to project where it thinks it needs to stop with that little line. And around here, it's like, it might slam on the brakes for a second and be like, oh, I can go further. And like, then it has to like figure out where it should stop. It's actually quite fascinating to see it learn like that. But I think if I were to go away from Tesla right now, that is actually the self-driving features and some of the integrations that we already have. I think it'd be hard to move away from that technology structure myself.
The ecosystem. They've got you.
Ecosystem. So the Cybertruck would be appealing in that sense. Yeah.
Joe.
Sorry, I just felt like pointing up for some reason. No, so I didn't want to like interrupt the conversation, but you said something a minute ago that's something I've been thinking about lately, and I thought it might be a neat little discussion. But you were talking about wanting to do more off-roading and stuff, and like kind of traveling in your truck, having a bigger truck so that you can kind of like be mobile
and social distance vacationing these days. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering, and I want to see what you guys say about this. Do you think with the way coronavirus has kind of shaped the work structure where we can, more people are working off-site and away from the office kind of thing, people are more mobile with their work situation and whatnot, that we're going to be seeing more of that? Like, I may be a little bit confirmation bias or something here, because like there's a friend of mine, Rebecca. I don't think she watches this show, but if she does, hi Rebecca. But no, she like just like outfitted a van, and is right now driving from here in Dallas up to like, I guess Seattle. Yeah. But she's doing like this big like van trip. Yeah. And she's got like a bed in the back. She's stopping at campgrounds, just hanging out there. She's like posting all these pictures on Instagram of her like, just drinking coffee by a stream in Colorado and stuff. But I'm seriously like wondering, like with that, things like Starlink,
right?
Is this going to be like something like, is this going to change the way people work and live and travel? Like, are we going to have more of a nomadic society in a way? Like, are people going to start to embrace that a little bit more?
The Ben Price, behind the scenes producer here, he builds van life vans basically, like where you can, these camper van things. Yeah, I think that's absolutely like something that's getting more cemented, and at least like it's something people are actually thinking about. Camper sales have been like 3 times, or I think it's literally gone up like 300% this year or something ridiculous. I saw some number, I don't remember what it was, but it's substantial, because people are like, oh, that's the kind of vacation we can take right now,
See, I just bought a second house for this, so You could also do that.
Is it mobile?
I think you're totally right. I think the van life thing has been a growing movement for a long time. And actually,
we don't have enough. Kids are all in debt. They can't afford anything more than a van these days.
Well, a little house thing.
Tiny
house
cheap,
movement.
man.
Tiny houses.
A decked out Sprinter van just by itself is going to be like some like $60,000 or something. Then you got to build out all the stuff in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, in the end, it's not like a very cheap endeavor. But yeah, I'm actually really excited about the Ford Transit Electric for this reason, as well as Daimler already has electric Sprinters, but they're just kind of like not something you wouldn't be able to do the things your friend is doing in it. But at some point doing that. In fact, Lucid, with their battery tech, they talked about really licensing it and opening it up to other companies. And that, I think, would be a huge move for them, right? Like just make your crazy luxury $200,000 cars that you don't sell a lot of, but just license this out to VW and the mega car makers and make trillions of dollars. Like, I think they could really do that. And you could imagine in a car, how much 500 plus miles of range, how much could you get in a big van, like a transit van or a Sprinter size van? I totally agree with that. I think it's going to change a lot. I mean, that's why we bought a house further out east with more room, was because we're like, why are we paying to live in this congested place when there's no reason to? You know what I mean? Like, our kid goes to school. He's in the other room right now on Zoom. Literally. Like, straight up, they have Zoom etiquette that my kid's kindergarten class has to follow. And you're looking at it going, what is happening? So,
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure I wasn't just, like I said, just sort of confirmation biasing myself because my friend was doing that. And I totally forgot that Ben does that.
Yeah.
But you guys were talking about, new cars. Ben, you've already ordered a truck and
R1T,
and
baby.
Tim, you said you're kind of leaning toward that. It just kind of feels like there's momentum in that direction.
Yeah. Well, the U.S. has a lot of places to go and explore and camp. Like, it's a big part of our, I feel like our grandparents and like my grandparents constantly, maybe this is just, again, confirmation bias, but like, I feel like there was a culture in like the 60s, where it's like, go camp, and like it was this big American, like everyone goes camping, and it was really common. And I kind of feel like me growing up, it wasn't as common. And I feel like I just don't see that as much more recently. But now all of a sudden I feel like it's like just coming back full swing.
Yeah. 100%.
And okay, so real quick, back to wrap it up on this section here before we go to break. Ben, so next year's cars.
Yeah, in terms of the ones that are really, we know are going to be here, Rivian is number one in my book. I mean, maybe I'll take a 100 push-up bet, but I don't think the Cybertruck's going to get delivered next year. I think I lost the previous one, didn't I? So with the Model Y, was it?
Yeah, it was Model Y being delivered in Q1.
Yeah. I think I don't think Cybertruck. We'll see Cybertruck in people's hands next year. I don't think.
Let's do it. 100 push-up bet. I think Cybertruck deliveries to the public, real deliveries in 2021.
Yeah, not like, Elon had the SpaceX team make one for, Bill Gates or somebody.
Yeah.
like a real normal person that ordered one. Yeah, I don't think so. So I'll take that bet. So everyone remind us.
Yep.
I don't know.
Write it down. Someone put a reminder.
New Year's episode 2022.
Yep. Yeah, or December 31st, 2021. Someone write it down.
Yeah, but no.
Like we're going to make it to 2022 or something.
Yeah. At this point, I'll put anything on the line. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do a 2,000 push-up bet and on everything you own on the line because
I'll do
who
a
cares?
push-up for every like this video gets.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this clip from our show. If that's just not enough for you and you want to watch the full episode, you can go to olfpod.com/YT.
And if you want more from us, you can consider becoming a Patreon member. You'll get early access to episodes. You can join our awesome community. You can actually watch us record live and get your name in the credits by going to olfpod.com/Patreon.
So thanks everyone for watching. Check back every Friday for new clips here and new episodes on the main channel.
Thanks everybody.